Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Leonard's Triple G, this time with an exciting review of Devil May Cry 5, or Devil May Cry V, if some people might know it from. Now, Devil May Cry V has a story that centers around the new demon called Hurizen. And Hurizen is trying to take over the city with a Clip-Off 3. The Clip-Off 3 basically sucks the blood out of all the inhabitants and just, makes the demon stronger. You start the adventure with Nero, and Nero gets his ass whooped, and then the adventure continues by him, make it by you turning him stronger and finding out more about what's going on. So this is the plot. It's not that original, it just follows the Devil May Cry usual ambiance and universe. And if you play Devil May Cry 3, I think you could play with Nero and with Dante. This is the same thing. Adding to that, you now have V. V is a very mysterious character that somehow is connected to the demon and to the Clip-Off 3. If you're a fan of the previous games, you'll pretty much understand right away why the game is called V. The 5 is V, and why he is called V, and how all it's connected to the demon. If not, well, play the game. It's good. So, let me talk about the characters. Now, gameplay-wise, of course. Nero loses his arm, so he uses mechanical arms. Each mechanical arm has a special ability that you can use. There's like, I think there's like 8 different arms with different abilities and different powers. So, you should try them all, It might be good for mechanical arm might be good in some levels, some missions, and another against others, especially against bosses. The mechanic with Nero that is different is that you don't get to switch between the arms, which I kind of didn't like that. I wish I could, just cycle through them, but I can't. So each time you use a glove, after a while it destroys, so you have to use the next one. So if you're building up for the Nero, you can build up just always the same glove if you find one that you like, or you can have several and just play with it. E is by far the easiest one to fight with. He follows very much the mechanic of DMC. His arm can reach and grab opponents, or make you grab objects that fling you through opponents or through levels in that sense. So it's very easy to continue combos and do combos and all that. So E is the one who's more how should I say, he's the most balanced of the 3. After him you have V. V doesn't fight himself except for the finisher move. So he uses a black eagle to fight for him and a black panther to fight for him. Also, he can summon a Titan, which resembles a golem, and he is extremely powerful. And also, when you activate it, it also restores the V's life, so it works a little bit like a devil trigger. And in that sense, it's very useful. Playing with V, I gotta say, it's really hard to judge distances and attacks because he has to be always, in a kind of a safe distance from the enemies. So I mostly play with him in auto. He's the only one I really recommend for you to use auto. It's very easy to get double and triple S's with him if you're playing in auto. If you're playing with normal mode, it can be more complicated. The difference between him and Nero is if in Nero you use the auto function, it doesn't work all the time. He just, sometimes just spams the power that he has on his mechanical arm, and so it doesn't really build up those combos and those hits. So, in that sense, I prefer to use V with auto mode and Nero without it. V doesn't have the range of powers and abilities that Nero has, but it does have some impressive and really powerful moves. Again, going back to the golem. So, it's fun to play with him also. Although it's more of a spectator view, spectator sport with him. Then you have, of course, Dante. Dante is by far the most impressive of all 3. He has multiple weapons, either be it for melee or be it with guns, and you really need to be proficient in the game to play with him correctly. I mean, you can play with auto or you can play normal, but to to cycle through all the weapons correctly and to use all the modes that he has, it's really, I would say, hard. I'm a great Devil May Cry fan. I've played all Devil May Cries, and to this day, the entire, Royal Guard, Swordsman, Gunslinger, Trickster, it's to me the most difficult one to use and to be really good at, because you have to use the triggers to switch through melee weapons or swords, and you use the left trigger to cycle through shotguns and pistols and that. So if you have a lot of them on each side, you have to cycle to them, lots of times. So I would suggest, if you're starting or if you're not that confident in your skills, to just use one weapon in each, or maybe two in each, so that way you don't fall into the cycle of having to press the trigger incorrectly, and so you select the wrong weapon, then you have to flee from the enemy, select the right weapon, and all that. Also, like I said, Royal Guard, Swordsman, these are very, very good modifications that you can do to him, but it takes a long time and a lot of experimentation to really find out what it's useful to you. Now, in some missions, I would suggest that you can use him as auto function. If you have a limited amount of weapons, it's better to use auto, because you can just cycle through them easier. If you have a lot, the auto mode will just try and cycle every weapon that he has, so it'll be a mess. So don't do that. If you use in normal mode, and you can, you want to really be good at using Trickster and sword play and all the modes and all the weapons, I would suggest that you use a limited amount of weapons, and then you can just try every mode that you want with each weapon and see how it goes out. I mean, he is the hardest one to play with, but when you get it, when you get those, that 2 or 3 combos that you can do really well, I mean, he's like the most fun to use. I can honestly say that. He's the most fun to use. I mean, he is Dante after all. He's the best in the game. So, yeah, there's that. Of all the 3, if you're just starting the game, play each level as you should. You play, if the game suggests you to do with V, you do with V. If it says with Nero, do with Nero. With Dante, do Dante. If you're doing a second playthrough or something, just play with Nero, because it's the most balanced between them all. And then on other places you can, diversify even more. Now, what do I like more about this game? I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, first of all, there's exploration, which is something that I like in every game. It's not just a linear path and enemies coming at you. Well, sometimes it is. But there's always, things that are hidden because the camera doesn't move correctly there, or there's a door that there's a door or a way that's hidden from you, and you can always explore other places, or maybe something that's in the ceiling that you have to tilt the camera to see. Those things are amazing, and so that level of exploration is good. Also, the replayability is also very good, because this game is, once you finish it, you become more powerful, so you can do it again at a higher level, then again at a higher level. And it's it has kind of a difficulty curve, but it isn't that steep that you get hammered just because you choose a higher difficulty level. No, and you can do that pretty fast. The stronger you are, the faster you do it, and that feeling of being really a devil hunter really hypes up the entire game. Graphically, the game is amazing, not only for the scenarios, but also the animation of the characters, the clothes they have when they get drenched in blood. It shows on the character. I mean, this is just the re-engine from Resident Evil, so you will see the upgrades from there in the game, and I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's got to be probably the best game I've played on PS4 graphically wise. I mean, I'm trying to go back to all those I play, but I mostly play just free to play. But in all those that I've played, this is really up there. I mean, I don't think I've seen one this good on PlayStation 4. This one is really, 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 really good. You also have a new feature on this game, which is the logging reward, which is something that you mostly associate with live service game, but not in this time. Every time you play, on the next day, if you log in, you'll get a continue orb, a golden orb, and that's really good. Sometimes you're just trying to do the same level over and over again, and so if you're having difficulties each time you try, you can do it. You have this little item that will help you. Like all previous Devil May Cry, you have the menus where you have to buy abilities. That's a given. Now for the parts that I didn't like. I didn't like the second to last boss, because up to here the game is like all the Devil May Cry. You just learning abilities, exploring the scenarios to get buffs and power-ups and all that, and then you get to the second last boss, and the game turns into a Soulsborne. It literally does. I mean, you have to take your time to study the attacks, and then study how you can counter them, when you can hit them, when you cannot. And when you try to do it at high levels, it can pretty much kill you in one hit. So yeah, I wasn't very pleased with that. I think that if you reach to a level you can overpower everything, you should overpower the bosses and just be able to continue as many times as you want. Here you can continue, but it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. At one time I was just that's why I don't play Soulsborne. I don't have the proper attitude to deal with it. So I was getting very frustrated. I had to stop playing for a couple of days, and then I went back at it, and then I tried it again. Because no matter how good you are, no matter how well you know the sequence that you have to do, the game will make sure that you have to have it 100% perfect. If you miss by just a flinch, it's your death. So I didn't like that. Another thing that I didn't like is that you cannot turn off the cutscenes. Now the game has a lot of cutscenes. There's cutscenes in the beginning of the level, at the end of the level, sometimes in the middle of the level, and you cannot turn them off. For every cutscene, it's a time that you have to wait. Most of them, actually all of them, in the beginning and the end, have a loading screen, so that really hurts your progress, especially not when you're doing the first time, but when you do it the second or third playthrough. You kind of get frustrated that you've seen the same scene over and over again. So yeah, if anyone knows how to turn them off, please tell me. If not, they should make a patch for it. These two defects I just talked about are really just nitpicking, because this is a really good game that I recommend everybody to play. Now, last year there were talks of this game being Game of the Year. I definitely think it should have been a contender, but again, Capcom already had Resident Evil 2 with the same engine and with similar graphics, So they, to put one against the other, they decided on, okay, just put Resident Evil. That the nostalgia factor is heavier on that one. So I think it was a good decision. Could this game have been Game of the Year? It certainly could, and it could have been a contender. I would have voted for it. I definitely would have voted for it. The game is absolutely amazing. I love it beginning to end. I'm on the third playthrough. I also did all the little quests that grant you the green and the blue orbs and the purple orbs. I did all that. So I'll be sharing that when you're on the later videos. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please like and subscribe. Play this game. It's absolutely worth it. As always, have a great game, guys.